What's up, guys?
No.
Welcome.
No. So cooked.
Welcome to Trims and Talk.
What's going on?
All the credits.
I just wanna talk with my brothers, is that too much to ask? Might as well look sharp, cause I'm doing it too. Trims and talk. Trims and talk. Trims and talk. I wanna know.
Are we ready?
No, because in your case, I mean, your guys been talking like for
I know,
far
but
long before.
this is the official bit.
Well, you may say he may say so. That's the official bit, but this
I'm
is now
going
official.
to do an introduction. We always do
this is what Donald usually does.
introduction. I like
I
the
see how he
formality
works.
there,
Yeah,
which
he,
is
he works there. He just cleans all the interest in this. Then by the time you're already tired, you know.
That's when he gets the vulnerable.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He gets the
Yeah,
vulnerability.
like, so when I'm here, it's like, kind of pulling teeth, you know.
Nigel, MC Nige.
Hey.
You and I have been talking already downstairs.
Thank you.
and up here
Extensively.
For quite a while now, and it's been very much talking to Nigel. Right? Although I know you as MC Nige. Welcome to Trims and Talk podcast.
Thank you.
We've been doing it for a good year now, and one of the things I think I was saying to you earlier was, it's a real joy, it's a pleasure, and it's an honour for us, for all the people we've had who've been on this podcast there, in terms of, just get to listen to their story. And this is very much what this conversation hopefully will be. It's about your story, your thoughts, your ideas, etc., etc. So, welcome, Nigel.
Thank you very
Right?
much. Thanks.
And London is smiling at me there because he knows I like doing that formality.
Yeah, all of that. So, okay, because he has this kind of this skewed idea that I've been wanting to kind of break solo, you know.
Is he holding you back?
No, you know what I'm saying? He's not. Actually, to him,
The Lungani show, that's what it is.
it is no Lungani show, you know what I mean?
Yet.
Not yet. Because he's retired, you know. Yeah, Donald has been retired for a little bit now, you know. So he's basically doing me a favor, you know, kind of bring me that gravitas that he exudes. You know. Donald is the wise one. Me, I'm making it up here. He's well researched. But no. Like you said, you know, we're grateful for you being here.
Well, I'm glad to be
like
here.
I was saying, I've known this gentleman for over 30 years.
Yeah, you were saying,
know what I'm
and
saying?
you bumped into him in the street.
In the
Yes.
street. I'm like, why let an old man just run amok in the city center without any
guardrails?
Yeah, any guardrails. You know what I'm saying?
But you were saying downstairs about bumping into people in the street can be an opportunity, and you had a really interesting story about bumping into the street and a industrial sewing machine.
Excellent. So, yeah, that often happens. So I was in the Winter Gardens and I was just talking about an episode that had happened to me the day before where a gentleman had gifted me an industrial sewing machine. And as I'm telling this person in the Winter Gardens, this lady tapped me on the shoulder and she says, "Have you got anywhere for that? Sorry, I just overheard you talking about a sewing machine. Have you got a premises for it?" I said, "No, I haven't." She says, "I know somebody who's got some art studios," and she gave me her number, Annie, they call her. And so I phoned Annie. I says, "Annie, I've just had your number given to me by a complete stranger in town, talking about some art studios." So she invited me to come down and have a look. So it's on the moor above the EE store. And I took a look at the space and just thought, wow, yeah. Okay, I want to be part of this. It's a company called Block Projects who look for available spaces so that they can bring community groups and organisations that wouldn't necessarily be able to afford an art space and give them the art space for a membership fee. Okay. It's changed over the months, and now we pay for the studio space. But it's still quite a reasonable price, a reasonable, affordable price. But the luxury of having a space where I've been drawing for years and years and years. but I've never really called myself an artist because I've just done bedroom stuff and and now I've got a space to do it. So I'm calling myself.
An artist.
I'm calling
So
myself
what sort
an
of art
artist.
do you do then?
Mostly acrylic base, airbrush. This is what I'm teaching myself. What I do is I watch YouTube.
Okay.
And I watch artists make pieces, and I often think, well, I can do that. All I need is the equipment, so I'll just grab hold of the equipment and then have an experiment and see if I can do it. So I started in pencil, graphite first, and then color pencil, and now I do all sorts of bits and pieces.
Yeah, and was it something you did at school then, art?
I did art at school. I loved art at school, and very much. I'm kind of like a hands-on.
Yeah.
I love
But
practical
remember art
stuff.
at school? If you didn't like art was the muck about lesson. So a lot of people who were quite good at art, they would just muck about.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't show that you actually quite liked art.
That's very, yeah. Oh, pressure of being a kid.
I know. Let me tell you, growing up is it's hard work.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to kind of get to grips with being over 50. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Yes. I'm
Get
trying
outta
to, I'm
here.
telling you, man.
And isn't it funny, though, those, the kind of limits that your friend group put on you, it's not until you're an adult that you realize that those limiting beliefs in your tight group kind of stop you from growing.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, it wasn't until I'm a 80s, so I was at the last couple of years of school during the 80s. That's when hip hop dropped, the very beginnings of breakdancing and body popping, and that whole movement came. I was heavily absorbed into that, as was my crew. But at the same time, we weren't allowed. It wasn't comfortable to bring other forms of music to my crew. Oh, have you heard this? Oh, have you heard that? Nah, man, that's not hip hop. This, that, and the other. So before you know it, you're stuck within.
Well, there's
those.
a staying in your lanes, isn't there? There's a
Staying
tram lines there, which is basically says, you like art, but you can't like art because that's not what.
That's not.
When I was at school there, that's not what us black lads like.
Yeah.
So there's a version of you which
Yeah.
you're sort of internalising from within your own group, from society at large. That it says this is what you're supposed to be like, and there's all these other bits of you which aren't being allowed to flourish as well.
Yeah. It's so. It's that. They call it tall poppy syndrome. Sticking it, because the tallest poppy is the one that's going to get chopped. So we've so in America, if you become successful, everybody seems to love that. They love that for you. Do you know what I mean? And they're happy to, do you know what I mean? Celebrate it with you. In the UK, in Yorkshire, if you become successful, everybody's grabbing hold of your trousers, trying to pull you. Don't get too ahead of yourself. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like in your little groups, I want to be this, and everybody's like,
Well,
what?
we were talking just a moment ago there about that idea about receiving compliments and how difficult that is as well. Just so at a relatively small scale there, I say to Lungard, I love the way in which, for instance, you ask questions. Now, that sort of compliment you'd think is an easy thing to accept. But I think it's quite difficult to accept it.
Yes.
I mean, people have said to us, I like the way in which you do your podcast. And I'm sort of,
Yeah, we do that.
We sort of
what do you call
feel
it?
uncomfortable
I
with
feel
it.
uncomfortable with it there.
But is it though the idea that we feel uncomfortable, or is because there wasn't a normalization, especially for a generation of us? It's always been you did what you did. You didn't really need to be acknowledged for the thing that was supposedly your role. It's like like these people who say that you get a prize for participation. Because we grew up with, if you came first, you get a prize. You could get a prize for second. Third, we are questioning already. After that, you are a loser. That was that idea.
But today, everybody who rocks up gets the prize.
He gets the prize. You were saying something about the I mean, from you were talking about the whole idea of what were you talking prior to this thing about in the States, like you succeed, they bring you up and stuff. But then there seem to be certain people who have been brought up to that level, and then seems like then suddenly they enjoy just chopping them down. We look at like the people like from the Michael Jacksons to the Mike Tysons. We like that meteoric rise, and then when people reach the pinnacle, now that we can see them,
but then
let's beat them down until they come to a...
But you're all then dealing with about people's, we were talking about this, people's own weaknesses. You know, because those weaknesses are in the spotlight, aren't they?
Yeah.
And one of the things which you've been doing in recent years is doing that look at yourself. And when you look at yourself, you know, that's hard. I mean,
It's painful.
It's scary as anything
Yeah.
to look at yourself in a rigorous way there, which hopefully is the one way in which you can avoid getting yourself into situations where someone's going to pull you down, completely
That's
pull you
it.
down, which is actually, you can look at yourself and say, okay, then I'm going to have to hold back on that. You were saying some things there about how you have to do that to a degree to actually get through.
Yeah. We're saying before I had my breakdown, before I lost ranks, I was kind of oblivious to men's mental health. And I just thought I was sailing on quite calm waters. Although people around me are suffering left, right and centre, and some of our brothers and sisters are having a really difficult time. You know, we spoke about Mr. T, and I'm kind of oblivious to it, not realising that all the time it's kind of there in the background. You don't really notice it. The only time you notice it is when you have to deal with it, when you're forced to deal with it, when circumstances change in your life, and then let's say we hit the bottom of the barrel, and it's only then that you realise that you're without the tools in order to get out of the barrel, because what you've done is you've just carried on. You've just existed, and you haven't worked on your own resilience. You haven't worked on your own mental health. So when I had my fall over, I didn't realise about anxiety, and I didn't realise that I had anxiety, and I've had anxiety all my life. So remember when we was talking at the bottom of the morning, I said that I'm the type of guy that will have an event that starts at 2:00, and at 5 to 2, everybody in the event is scratching around looking for it. Where's MC Nige? And I'm outside the event. I'm all clothed up. I'm all ready. I'm hyping myself up, and I'm ready to go in. And I'll rock up 2 minutes before the event starts. Everybody's panicked. Everybody's been there from morning, setting up the event. I just rock in, and I'm MC Nige until the event's finished. And then while everybody's saying, what we're going to do is we're going to have a cup of coffee, maybe go to the pub, and then we're going to talk about how the event's gone and how we can best him. I'm gone. I'm out of there. So from the second my clock stops, I've gone. And what I realised was that's anxiety. It's the anxiety for performing. That I rock up in character, do my thing, and then I go. And what I found was that was my anxiety. That's how I managed anxiety, and didn't even realise that I had it. So if you do know somebody who just turns up at the last minute, gets on with what they're getting on with, and then they chip, it may be because they're uncomfortable in the space prior to them doing what you've booked them to do.
This is the weirdest thing. It's like, because I was, I did mention, Gambinga, that Gambinga will come. He'll come and help us set up, and he'll be there and stuff. And then suddenly, you're looking around and he's gone. And I respect his process in the sense that I think many of us, we will come to this space and be overwhelmed by the space. And then when we leave the space, we are on our own to deal with the enormity of what we are to undertake. And that, let me tell you, I've been like yourself, I suffer from a lot of anxiety. And to articulate that to everybody else that, I have to deal with this. Sometimes the psyche, all it takes for me is for somebody to say, we need to talk.
Oh.
And I go down this rabbit hole and stuff of trying to figure out, what did I do? What haven't I
But isn't
done?
that need to talk? It's a scary one, especially if it's a partner. It's usually not a good talk.
Never.
Especially if you're not good at talking. And, talking intimately, talking about feelings, talking about experiences and how you feel about it. That is really difficult. And we know, one of the things we were talking about earlier, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this one up, you talked about Ranks, your very good friend, and the show you had there. And one of the things which came out of that, a little bit we talked about there, was about male friendship and loss of male friendship. And, we just, most of the time when you're mates, you're sort of like, it just is, isn't it?
We're like, let me tell you, it's like with us as men, and it's like we never left the playground.
You said that. You were in Ranks with the show.
That's perfectly true.
Yeah.
And we would meet at the steps of Sheffield Live, and as you know, there's like 2 floors to go before you get to the studio. So we would meet on a Friday. Our show starts in perhaps 40 minutes. We've rocked up, and the walking up the stairs, our conversation. So as for meeting at the stairs, our conversation as we walk up the stairs is, oh, my baby mum this, and oh, Bill's that, and the car's giving me trouble, and oh, I can't believe this and that and the other. And then by the time we get to the top, and we've, Ranks is sorting out what playlist he's, what the first few tunes are going to be. I'm setting the mic up and getting everything all sorted. We're in the playground. That's the playground. The serious stuff is going up the stairs. How are you doing? What's your kind of where you at? Where's your head at? Do you know what I mean? By the time we've got to the top stairs, forget all that. It's music time. Ranks is sorting out which tunes he's gonna. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. And then so my relationship. So the reason why I haven't been able to fill Ranks's boots is because it was never about the show. It was always about that playground feel. It was always about me and him, because the other thing that we said downstairs is when you lose your friend, not only is it impossible to tell your current friends and family how important that relationship was. If it goes back to the schoolhood days, there are secrets that man took with him.
Yes.
That are our secrets that nobody else knows. Do you know what I mean? And it's the loss of that. Remember you were saying about loneliness of elderly people when all their friends and family have gone, and the 90-year-old is just there on his own. Although he's got people surrounding him and they've got conversation and there's things happening, there's an important gem that happened 80, 70, 60 years ago that nobody knows apart from those people who were around him. So the fact that he's on his own, surrounded by company, but he's not surrounded by...
And I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because in a way people, we as individuals, we accept that idea that if you lose, we call it a loved one, which normally we're talking about our partner, or it might be family, then people understand, oh, they're grieving, etc. But grieve for your friend, and it's back to that male friendship. This person there who is like your brother, who's lived with you throughout your adult life there, and you lose them. And I was saying to you about, I'd lost a very, very good friend, Mark, who is now 2 years ago, Mark Hutchinson there, and I was saying that I went to watch a film on yesterday. I went to watch a French film, as one does.
And he doesn't even speak French.
It was about a refugee. It was an asylum seeker. And I went on my own. But the person I would have, and I missed him yesterday, because he would have been the person I would have rung to say, let's go watch this film. He would have been the person, if I wanted to watch a film about Mary Tudor, he would have...
The only one in your clique?
Who I know, who would have been into that same sort of thing there. Because we all have so many different sides. And therefore, here's a friend who actually, that was what you two, one of the things which you and he or whatever there. That's what you did. You did other things together with other people, but this was what you and he were about. And then you lose that, and you miss that.
Yeah.
This is the most. We had a mutual. Mark Hutchinson, I mean, to the point, was the first guy to invite me to come do a workshop, a drumming workshop at High Store School.
Okay, yeah.
So I had known him around 30-something years, you know, from same
Right.
vein as Donald. And the last conversation I had with Mark, we were at a restaurant up in Fargate. We're having, you know, a warm beverage, as men of a certain age do, with some. It wasn't a crumpet, but it was something that has nice pastry. Nice pastry.
No, he's all in the action, isn't he?
With nice pastry, we were planning for the future. You know, we were gonna sit down and we're working on an idea of a podcast. Because with him, he wanted, you know, something that he could leave for his children around relationships. You know, like being a father of biracial children. It's a different ballgame. Or that whole thing of actually being in a biracial relationship. That thing, for me, which has fascinated me for a long while, because I had a family and friends and what have you. But that which was besides the point, but we're planning for the future. And that, to me, those friendships that we have, and sometimes we don't really invest in them, or even in our investment, we tend to be slightly forgetful. You know, like I was thinking about this, like, when is the last time you told your friend, I love you, bro?
Steady. I had a guy from Nottingham, a rap artist. He's doing really well at the moment. Actually, he's called Jar Digger, and he came up on the show, and during the show, I don't know whatever's happened, and I've gone, oh yeah, I love me DJ. Yes, Rank's played a particular tune, and I've gone, yeah man, I love me DJ. Well, when we was in the green room, Jar Digger says to me, yeah, I'm just going to pull you up on what you said earlier on. I said, what? And he says, yeah, when you said, like, I love me DJ. He said, I really like that. I really liked how you said that. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, because that's like an uncomfortable thing for guys to say, like, to one another. But you say it on air. Like, you say it on air. One of the comforting things I had when he left me was the fact that I've said that on air for years. Yeah. I've always said, I love me DJ. And then when he went, it was hashtag love me DJ. Hashtag love me DJ. Whenever I wrote anything, do you know what I mean? And I think that's an important taboo that we need to break. That as dads, we need to tell our kids that if you are in the company of, if you've got a best friend, let that best friend know how important that relationship is to. You don't have to be in his, do you know what I mean? Be in his business, do you know what I mean? Or being so tight with him. But if you do have a relationship with somebody, I think it's important that you let them know.
Yes.
So that when it is time for you to, like we have my relationship with you, there's sometimes when I probably haven't seen you for a year, 2 years. But the minute we lay eyes on each other, we have a comfortable. So there's no need for, where have you been? You said, do you know what I mean? There's no need for that. It's straight away. You're straight back in. You're straight back in the mix.
You just pick up. Yeah.
And this is
but you know, on that, because I remember when I was growing up, and when you sort of like 15, back to that playground thing, you're 15, 16, 17, and you're running around with lots of different people. And my dad used to say to me, you know, you'd only really have 3 or 4 close friends. Now, when you lose one of those close friends, that is really quite sort of like pulls the rug from underneath you. Yeah. Sometimes you don't even know it's going to affect you in that way. And, you know, one of the things we were saying downstairs again is that, you know, lots of people our age and, you know, are getting ill. People are passing, you know, and, you know, you get a bit frightened You get frightened for yourself. You get frightened for the things you're going to lose along the way, and you think, well, you know, this is quite difficult. But in a sense, you've got to actually acknowledge it. And as you say, I think you know, you need to say some things to some people who matter to you.
Yeah.
That actually you matter to me.
While you have the chance,
Whilst
while
you
you have
have-
the
yes,
opportunity
yes.
to do it. Yeah.
But you, I mean, you are not only just a dad, you are a grandfather also. Who would have known that you will eventually become grandparents?
What, with this face?
You know what I mean?
You kidding me?
How are you handling that whole grandfatherhood, man?
Yeah, how do you answer that question? I don't know. In terms of what kind of grandfather I am, kind of reminds me that I don't see my granddaughter enough. Thank you for bringing that up. And this is something that I should rectify as soon as we leave the podcast. Oh, my days. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
We have a service.
Yeah, we kind of, yeah.
For all you guys out there as granddads, get yourself out there.
Man, and find your grandchildren.
That's it.
Yes.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's very, very true. I'm guilty of that. But my grandson is in South Africa, so
Oh, that's a good
yeah,
excuse.
so it is a
My
great
grandchildren are here, so I've got no excuse.
excuse. None whatsoever, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Kind of goes back to what we were saying before. And when I do see my kids and my grandkids, I'm there, 100%. I'm there, and when I'm not, I'm sure that they know that 100% I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. That, and that's left me with a bit of a hole in the belly.
And is that Dominic's?
That's Dominic's daughter.
So we were talking there
Ria.
about Dominic. Dominic's obviously got 5 children there, but Dominic's the
I
eldest.
don't tell everybody.
We could cut that.
No, we ain't gonna cut it.
But Dominic's your eldest then,
Dominic's my
and
eldest. Yeah.
he's the one who took you to the gym, wasn't he? When
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
things were
yes.
difficult.
Yeah, so in the middle of the first lockdown is when I had my most difficult time, and often I say it's my most difficult time, trying to avoid the fact that I had a mental breakdown. During that mental breakdown, obviously everybody who was around me is concerned, and it's quite close to when Mr. T went. So
Yeah.
obviously outside of my little bubble that I've climbed into, there's lots of people who are concerned for my mental health, lots of people concerned for my stability of mind. Dominic had the keys to a gym, Unity Gym in town, that was essentially, Unity Gym was created for by a youth worker in Sheffield and a group supported
Saeed.
by the University of Saeed, and Will, supported by the Sheffield University, and they got together and created the gym to target the boys of Broome Hall. Obviously, the boys of Broome Hall were a bit bonkers at the time, so.
A few issues.
So Saeed decided that one of the ways to tackle antisocial behaviour and difficult young men is to use exercise as an outreach program that kind of just blew up. I mean, the building itself has a feel. It's a weights gym. There's some machines in there and free weights and what have you, but it's not a poser's gym. It's literally a business gym. You get in there, you feel the community. You can see the size of the gym is not a great deal, probably twice the size of this room. There's no distractions. You're in there, and it's all about business. And I love it. And the fact that the gym is geared up for young people means that it's an essential jewel in this part of the city, and it's well used and well loved. However, during the lockdown, nobody had access to anywhere. My son said, "Dad, I've got a key. If we sneak in, we can, start off slowly." One of the things I learned through the life coaching course was to get your morning routine sorted. So in order to get your mental health stabilized, first of all, we have to get a routine. It's important to have a routine. So the course taught me, get up on time, at the same time, every day. Get your beginnings part of your routine, brush your teeth, wash your face, fix your bed. All of these tips. Exercise is important, nutrition is important, but exercise is serious. And so even if it meant, so I started off with, we got, obviously my little lad was 3 at the time, so we'd got a tiny little table and chairs that was really low to the ground, little table and chairs for him. Well, I took that little stool, the little chair from the table, and I would do knee ups, so I'd bring my knees to my chest. That was the beginnings of my exercise routine. So, I told Dominic, I've been doing some bits, a couple of push-ups and some knees up to my chest and what have you. And he says, "Dad, we need to get in the gym and start doing some stuff." I haven't been to the gym in years. Although I've been breakdancing for years, I never really did any exercise. I just kind of did my bit on the floor and then sat wheezing in the corner for the next 2 or 3 hours. But as far as these kids were concerned, I was the GOAT.
Yeah.
But literally, I only had a minute and a half at any one
what's
time.
So important about getting up? Let's get up in the morning, the routine.
Well, the thing is, what I'd done unconsciously was 20 years I've been giving to the community. I've been doing community things, and my priority was making sure that I deliver a service that's unique and fun and community based. And
so that's the MC Nige.
Yeah, that's the MC Nige.
Nige.
What I didn't realise was you have to be selfish. What you're doing there is you're filling the community with your empty cup. And what you have to do is fill your cup and then serve your community with your overspill, so that you're not in need. And what I was doing was the opposite way around. I was giving to the community and not investing in me. I didn't do anything for me. So the morning routine is kind of a way of selfishly realizing that you are the one.
Yes.
And if something happens to me, all your community stuff, or your family stuff, or your lover stuff, all of that's in the bin. Yeah. All of that's.
Yeah.
When you break, everybody around you breaks. So what we're doing is constantly building everybody else up. At the same time, we're chipping away at our own.
I really like what you said there about wake up at the same time, because I'm retired and I'm in the house on my own, and I wake up at 7:30. And I think, do I get up now? Or do I just sort of roll over and just stay in bed a bit longer? And I always avoid that. And I think what you're saying, what I'm hearing there, is that actually you've got to get up because you have to face the day.
Yeah.
You have to face the day with a positivity.
Yeah.
And otherwise, you can get up. And we know guys will be out there like that. My age, retired, living on their own. And I'll just stay in bed till 9. I don't know what I'm going to do today. And before you know it, the day is just wild away, and there's nothing in that day. And there's a slippery slope there, isn't
That's
there?
a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope.
And what happens is, if you don't take care of your day, somebody's going to take care of it, whether that be the anxiety, the bills, the things that are going to occupy your mind, or whether somebody's going to phone you up and go, "Oh, my car's broke down. Is there any chance you could just come and help me sort my car?" But you haven't made plans, so you are swept about. You're blowing around like a leaf in the wind. If you don't get yourself a routine, somebody will occupy.
You just said
your
that if you don't have a plan, make a plan.
Yeah.
A lot of female friends I have say to me, they'll say things like, "Oh, I'm going to see so and so. I'm going to go see so and so." They've made arrangements to see people. Now we know as men, we don't make arrangements to see one another, do we?
Yeah.
It's just like if we bump into one another. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But we're not sort of saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to go and see you 2 weeks' time and we'll go for a coffee or we'll go and do for a walk, etc.
Yeah.
It isn't something we really do. And I actually think we should do it more. And I think I should do it more. I think I'll take care of myself.
The weirdest thing about that is like, when I was growing up, I mean, I grew up in Zimbabwe. You will spend the whole day doing jack, but at the end of the day, you felt like you have accomplished a lot. which is the most bizarre of all things, bro. You know
It was
what
a
I'm
good
saying?
day.
And then coming here, and then suddenly realizing that every minute is accounted for. It's a different way of working. And to your point, that whole thing of being able to do something for us, I think many of us, like Donald rightly said, as men, because we are put in that space where we work, we provide stuff, we think we are doing that for us, but in essence, that's not it. I think sometimes
Yeah,
even...
but you said earlier about the playground and the 15-year-old, that actually that self is always there.
Yes.
And a part of male friendship is that. So, many parts of the world there, the old guys will sit on the veranda.
Yes.
People walk by and they sit and talk for hours.
Yes.
Or you'll go to a cafe. If you go to any of the Arabic countries, they'll be there drinking coffee outside all day, men just hanging out.
Yes.
That's what the pub is here, isn't it?
Yeah,
Guys
yeah,
just
yeah,
sit
yeah.
there in the
Yeah.
pub there, having that sort of like back and forth. But then it does say from some of us, what's your outlet for having that male sort of like camaraderie, that connection? Because that's what I'm thinking, that connection, which makes you feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah, I mean, a
I don't
number
know if
of...
I'm posing a question.
Well,
I'm just sort of throwing
yeah.
it out. There was a pregnant pause there.
Yeah, there was. I'm trying to get comfortable with those pauses.
Yes.
We always want to fill in the pot. Hey, let me tell you, I am, I see this especially around my kids and stuff. I'm usually, because I don't like the in-between spaces. Sometimes when you see me at home, I've got 2 monitors where I do my editing. And I've got my iPad here and my phone. I'm watching, there's a meme on the phone, there's a game on the iPad. There's either Disney Plus on the left, and then there's Final Cut on the right. You know what I'm saying? It says it.
That's a barrage of information.
I know, bro. I know. And I call headphones. And this is the thing. Like many of us, we talk about being on the spectrum and what have you. And some of us have been trying to kind of create. Our process involves all this myriad of information and stuff. Why I'm saying that is because one thing I have noticed about you, especially around events, there's a lot of input. There's a lot of input, and you have to factor all this stuff. How do you process all that amount of expectations from people at the same time? Because to us watching, hence why when I saw you at this track and you were talking about the issue around lockdown, for me, it came as a shock. But then the moment I sat with it, I was like, yeah, I get it. Because this brother does a lot. And he consumes a lot. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that now?
Well, I don't. Because I've taken a real step back over the last 3 years. I've taken a real step back from a lot of the community stuff that I was doing. A lot of the community stuff that I was doing was a result of my financial situation.
Yes.
I was the guy in the gig economy. So I would go from one event to the next event and more or less pick up everything because I was more or less chasing the money rather than actually having a set agenda. Lots of people would say, Nigel, you should do this and you should do that. So I would pick and choose bits and pieces that I would do. Mostly all the stuff that was within my comfort set, within my were comfortable to me. If you notice, I never did any podcasts. I never did any TV work other than the stuff that was that I managed. Like we were saying about the podcast about the radio show. I did the radio show because Ranks and I had agreed that we were going to do it in a format that was very much like we did it on SCR, pirate radio station. So we would deliver the show exactly the same, because to do it sort of like a BBC production, I don't think that would have suited me well. That would take too much research, too much effort, too much...
it wouldn't be you either, would it?
No, it wouldn't. So I very much dance around the things that I like doing. In terms of the amount of things that are happening on any one event, I like to be absorbed in that. I like to be in that. That's part of my ADHD. I love that. I can manage that. I can't manage the quiet bit where we're sat around a table planning an event. How do you think we should plan this? All of that was too straight. The same as podcasts when we do podcasts. Because I was MC Nige, there's no way I can get into character and maintain that character while people are seriously talking to me. Do you know what I mean? So I very much avoided all of those kind of things. Now I realise that my growth over the last few years has allowed me to be able to step away from the clown, the MC Nige, and because I recognise some of the tools that I've learned to cope with my mental health, I realise that they're of benefit to be able to talk about. These are the things that help me get my routine, get my gym.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say,
get my nutrition right.
Yeah. I mean, talking with you downstairs, maybe I thought,
before
MC
you
Nige.
even go there, this is the thing. I'm suddenly feeling, some type of way, because your guys had this big
we did.
downstairs.
Hey, you're the technical man.
I'm like, these guys had a very fulfilling conversation without me.
I think the young people call that FOMO. You feel like...
It was the green room downstairs.
It was the green room. I'm here basically waiting with my hands folded.
But you text me and said, we've got MC Nige.
Yeah.
All right. So straight away now, MC Nige. MC Nige comes in. That's who I see. Yeah. But it's not MC Nige I'm talking to downstairs. Yeah. It was Nigel I was talking to. And one of the things you said is that part of that process of actually embracing finding Nigel, and embracing Nigel was a course you went on as well. Because I said to you something about, medication or talking therapies, and you sort of like said to me, talking therapies. And you sort of like really went with that.
Yeah.
Share with us a little about your thoughts about that.
It started with... let me go back. So I'm in the middle of not being well. I know things are going pear-shaped. I know my relationship with my kids, my relationship with my partner is all going a bit south. And so every so often somebody will send me a message and it'll be an inspirational quote. And I love that inspirational quote. And before long, I started getting quite a few inspirational quotes and inspirational videos, how to being mindful and doing all of these little things. They kept popping up on my Facebook. And I thought, I need who's that guy with the big teeth? The guy with the big teeth, Tony Robbins. That's who I need. I need Tony Robbins. So I start looking. And I remember Tony Robbins from years and years ago when he first started. So I'm looking for Tony Robbins. Anyway, I'm listening to him and he's a bit American, which is not a bad thing, but I'm in a shed in the middle of South Yorkshire. Do you know what I mean? In the middle of the night. And this isn't, it's not.
Yeah, I've got an image now.
It's not, it's not, no lights in that shed. and it's freezing outside, but I'm in the shed, and I'm leafing through, and a guy popped. So there's a few women that I'm looking through. There's a few guys, the usuals, and Dr. Peterson. I'm looking through, and all of these are brilliant. Then all of a sudden, I clicked on this young lad, and Tim Han, he's called. Success Insider is the name of his company, and he started. I'm watching, and it seems that he started probably 5 or 6 years before I've discovered him. He's been 5 or 6 years, and it turns out that in his conquering of the YouTube algorithm, he managed to reach the top of the algorithm, and he was one of the top speakers at a particular time. You know, a few years ago, he was the biggest thing on the internet. And I'm listening to some of his videos. I'm listening to one of his videos, and I'm just, this guy. And he also reminded me of Anton, one of my top students, B-boy, ladyboy. So he reminded me of Anton straight away. He seems like, he's talking in a way that's kind of resonating with me. And I just kept clicking on his videos. I thought they were amazing. And I've never done this before, but I messaged his video. I'm in the shed. It's the middle of the night. My heart's pumping. I've got to the end of his video, and it really spoke to me, and I've just thought, that is an amazing video I've put. A few minutes later, he sent me a message. I've sent him a message. He sent me a message. So it says, if you was impressed by that, here's a few videos that might help, and it's one about your morning routine, and it's one about how important your nutrition is to your mental health, the stuff that you're eating, the stuff, not only that, but the stuff you're taking in on the internet. All of that's having an effect on it. I'm loving this. And he pitched a 3-day course, a free 3-day course. If you like these videos, how about jumping on a 3-day course where we learn how to get your morning routine right, we learn how to, do the difficult things, I thought, this is brilliant. So I did the 3-day course. As soon as you click on, every day a video pack will come to your email. You listen to the video, and then there's some tasks that you do. You take part in the tasks, fill out the little boxes and send it back. Oh, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. When it got to the end of the 3 days, it started pitching me the 7-day course, and I'm thinking, 7-day course? Free? You're joking. With the effects I had from the 3-day course, yes, I'm definitely going to snap this up. So I did. Again, every day, different emails, sending different videos and different things, different tasks. These were all pitches for the course that you buy in. Yeah. All the way through these 7 days is telling you that the course is the course is expensive, it's world beating, it's world class. So many people have been on it, this, that, and the other. And I thought, this is amazing stuff, but I'm not buying this. And then it got to the end of the week, and the end of the week was telling you about, as we just discussed, when your car's broken down, when your car's ready for its test, and you know that it's going to need a bit of money to get it through its test as well as the test, and you start going into panic mode. But eventually, you find the money, your car's on the road. 6 months later, you can't remember all the bubbling you went through to get that car through its test. It's just a thing. And the course is exactly the same. What we do is we spend a whole lifetime investing our time and energy in everything except ourselves. We don't spend any money on ourselves. No. We don't invest in ourselves, and some folks don't go to the barbers. We don't have our nails done. We don't have time we don't do stuff for ourselves. And one of the biggest investments you can make is in your mind. Is it how you learn. If you haven't learned anything since school, then what's happening? So I've just gone, he's right. He's absolutely right. So I begged, stole and borrowed to try and work. And plus, he gives it as you can pay weekly, pay monthly. So I thought, I'm going to go sign up for it. I'm on the dole. I've got no money. I'm still living in a HMO. There's no way I'm going to pay for this, but I managed to pay for it, and I managed to jump on the course. And the course changed my world. Absolutely absolutely dragged me out of where I was at and turned me into a new person. And the thing is, you have to take action. You have to do the difficult stuff. And that's what the course was all about. It's about getting yourself right, selfishly taking time out of the day. So if you say, I haven't got time to go to the gym, and then somebody will say, that's 24 hours in this day. It's 24 hours. So when you get up, if all your day is making breakfast for the kids and then going to the job so that you can make money for that guy, and then you go shopping, so Sainsbury's is now getting the benefit of your money, and then you go home and you're flicking through the channels, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're not doing anything for yourself, but if you just took half an hour to walk like you do, if you just took time to walk, the benefits you. And if it benefits you, everybody around you is benefited. So if you amplify that and make yourself the best that you can possibly be, everybody around you benefits. Failure to do such a thing means that everybody suffers when you're not right. If you're not right, everybody suffers.
That's it. That's it. Because actually it speaks to the thing like, I mean, some people say, you know, like, when people come into your space, do they leave changed? You know, when they interact with us, are they better for our interaction with them? Or you are like that, there's a quote in one movie, I think it's a Adam Sandler movie. He says, he does this presentation, and then this guy gets up and says, I'm dumber than when I came here after what you just said. So we have to be careful, and I think, you know what, I do like this, you know, because for starters, we, like many of us, we don't have a process. We fall off the bed and just basically it's a constant reaction to what's thrown to us, and that's why many of us are sick and, you know, just upset with life, because we don't really plan. The most important person we can plan for is us. You know, we can have our partners, our children, and everything else, but bottom
But it's
line,
hard, isn't it? Because, I mean, you know, in many respects, we're not brought up to be like that. And, you know, as you say, Nigel, that, you know, we sometimes get caught unguarded. You know, events of life events can sort of like rock you. And suddenly you're in this place. And you don't know how
Without
to
the tools.
Without the
to deal.
tools. You've been doing, I mean, I remember watching a program years ago now, and I watched it because my daughter was in London and she was doing a placement at this hospital. It's the Maudsley Hospital, which is the Bedlam Hospital. So it's a mental health hospital. And there was a program on there about guys who, over the age of 60, become mentally unwell. And when they were going through some of the people on this program, individuals, there was no instance in their up to 60 where they'd been mentally unwell. So it's not like they had a lifetime. They got into 62, 65, 66, and things happened. You know, it might be a relationship breakdown. They lose their job, or they become retired. You know, events like that, which you know most people, they're huge events.
Yes.
But actually, you know, I was thinking about this downstairs, and because downstairs they were all joking at me. The canteen people were saying, "You're going to remember your phone today.
Oh yes.
Remember your jacket today." And then it made me think, do they see me as some sort of like old fuddy-duddy sort of person? And I had a moment before you came in, Nigel, where I thought, how do you do this older thing?
Yes.
And it's a scary one, because actually stuff can just rock you. You know, you're and that's, how do you do it? And I've been listening to you today. I'm thinking to myself, I like this idea. You have to make a plan, because I can be a bit lazy. I mean, I know you go every morning. You get up and you're quite sort of like strict with yourself, aren't you? And I can be a little bit less strict about myself. And you know, I think it is important that actually you are able to, you know, make some plans, because making plans is also looking forward, isn't it? And I think you have to have that.
My question then is you alluded to this. You're sort of like saying, you know, the course finding Nigel. How far up the journey are you in finding Nigel?
It's an ongoing journey, and lots of times there's bits of you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a course recently this summer, which was recommended to me by Ahmed as a friend, a colleague that he works with. She was doing a course, Firefly Adventures, they're called, and it's the course is predominantly around how to deal with difficult stuff. The metaphor is the mountain. How do you get to the top of the mountain? Well, it's one foot in front of the other. It's dealing with difficult challenges. And so I've rocked up on this course full of Tim Hand knowledge. Yeah. And do you know what I mean? I know myself. And she says to me, what do you want from this course? What's the outcome that you would like from this course? And I really had to think about it quite long and hard, and I said that the last 20 years I've spent working with young people. I've got a thing. It's a skill, and young people get
resonate.
Me, probably because I'm still a young person.
It's true. That is, I can attest to that.
And it works, and that works. My skill set works with these young people, and I can get them to feel comfortable in my space and to learn difficult things, the breakdancing, mostly because it's stuff that kids enjoy. I'm not teaching maths. Do you know what I mean? It's fun, easy, accessible stuff. It's brilliant stuff. But in them 20 years, because of my anxiety, I've avoided speaking with grown-ups. Goes back to the event. The event kicks off at 2 o'clock, and I'm there at 5 to. Mostly so, I don't have to speak to academics, people who talk for a living, people who create these events. They're really good at talking event stuff. I'm good at being the event. So what I'd like to get from Firefly Adventures is the ability to talk to academics. That's where I feel uncomfortable. This being one of the examples to do podcasts.
Well, you said to me before, you were scared.
Yeah.
Which I was a bit surprised with.
Which is good, because what I'm doing is I'm embracing that scared, because the scared happens when the bill drops on that day, and do you know what I mean? That scares you. And if you run away from it, if I hadn't have come today, that would be the bill winning. That would be the podcast winning. And my anxiety hasn't learned. So leaning in and taking action means rocking up today and being vulnerable and being authentically me. And so what I've learned is, you don't know what you don't know, so there's always going to be a learning. I don't think that anybody, including Tony Robbins and Dr. Peterson, they would all tell you that life is a continuation of your learning experiences, and it's about moving with different folks in order to grab tiny little gems of knowledge or tiny little tools of how to deal with your mental health. So it never stops.
But that's the thing. I mean, to your point and Donald's point is we are. It's not. This is a new thing for us. Also, we took a chance on just saying, we're just going to have candid conversations with people who, at least, we like, and sometimes people we understand are more knowledgeable than us.
Yeah.
And for me, I was saying I had a meeting actually prior to coming here with Diane Owens. I mean, she works at the city council. First time I had met this lady. And in that conversation I had with her, I suddenly found myself, kind of being struck by an idea that unless we come out of that uncomfortable space of not asking questions, not being curious, you know what I'm saying? Because many of us, it's like we are okay with the knowledge that we have about the world around us. We will not, especially when you get to a certain age, you're like, I can't be bothered to even read this book because I have lived through a life that has served me well.
I mean, I've always, and I think I've said this to you, always is wrong, but where I'm at the moment, I'm always a little unsure about certainty. I'm always unsure about people who are certain.
Yes.
Because life doesn't seem to play out like that. And if life doesn't play out like that in the small, in personal and the larger scale, then curiosity keeps you wanting to know more and
hungry.
more and more.
Yeah.
Part of that curiosity is about yourself. Who are you? And who are you? What you believe, and how you're going to play out the rest of your life to the best of your ability, etc. That's a curiosity. But it's also, we were saying before, about it's difficult to do the looking at.
It's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But failure to do it means you're just observing.
Yes.
You're observing everything but you. Oftentimes, like as soon as you start doing work on yourself, you can see firsthand people who don't do the work on themselves. It's obvious. It's blatantly obvious how folk can operate or how folk can take a stand or have an opinion. And when you start working on yourself, you can look and go, well, you're kind of talking off the top of your head, because I can see that you don't. You're not doing the work on you, because if you did, you couldn't have that opinion.
So does that change relationships with people then?
Yeah, because it means that you have a group of people around you. Some of those people are not supposed to be there, but you can't see that they're not supposed to be there because you haven't done the work on self, and you don't know self. So if you don't know self, you don't know how toxic these people are around you. The minute you start working on yourself, Tim told me, it's everything that goes in your head. Everything that goes in your head. That's the stuff that goes in this bit, the stuff that goes in this bit, and the stuff that goes in this bit. If you're casual about the stuff that's going in, then 100% that stuff's having an effect. Whether it has a positive or a negative effect, time will tell. So if you're mindful of all the things that you're doing, both in terms of your food, in terms of what you're listening to, and in terms of what you're viewing. If you're not mindful of those things will just eat away at you until you're in crisis. And those things compound your crisis. Now, if, for instance, you wake up, you're thankful that you're here, first of all. Whomever you're giving thanks to has to receive that thanks. You have to be aware that another day, the clock's ticked over, and now you've been born into a new day. It's what you're going to do with that day. I'm going to start my routine. My routine goes like this. Now I'm ahead. I'm ahead of me. I'm ahead of me. And the competition is you. The competition is not, I'm not trying to be like you. I'm trying to be the best version of me. And if I'm better than I was yesterday, then that's a win. That's a win.
It's a win, man.
It's a win.
Yeah.
And those tiny little steps will lead you to a place where you have better clarity and you are internally a better person because you're doing the work. Failure to do the work means that you are, like we said, floating about like a leaf on the wind, being pulled in all different directions.
I like what you're saying, because it's like many of us who come from, probably it's a generational thing. I grew up in a place where you were fed the same meal for everyone. There were no choices. You didn't have a choice. There was not even a fridge where you can go and say, like, if you don't like this, you're going to go and get something else. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have that. You ate whatever was available for you. So somehow we normalize this idea of collective thought. And hence why I think, we find this mostly in our community, is that we went around like a similar trajectory. We were either going to go and work in the pit or where the job was going to be found. Nobody thought that the person who was on the margin, was the weird one. The clever guy was the guy who said, oh yeah, he likes planes. But you like planes. Have you ever seen anyone ride, kind of fly a plane in this, or somebody who built a plane? So we were drawn into that idea of being collective. And I like this idea of actually now some of us are learning that, confront self. Because some of us, Robert Cottrell mentioned this thing that, for a black guy, sometimes we fly off the handle from 0 to 9. Nothing is done about from 1 to 8. We are quick to run from one angle to the other because of that inability to figure out, what kind of really trigger us to that point where...
Sometimes you don't.
Yes.
That trigger is important, isn't it? Because there's triggers all the way, everywhere. And it's when people fly and they're in that rage or they're in that sort of despondency where they're inert. They can't do anything. And it's what are the things you're going to do? And that's why what I've got from you today, Nigel, is so much, the notion of the plan, the notion of the getting up in the morning, all these simple things, which actually we take for granted. Even the idea that you're born into a new day.
Well, you don't even, you don't realize they're important. You can't realize they're important because you can't realize that they're important until you reach a crisis. You can't see it until you're in crisis. And then when you're in crisis and you start doing the work, then you realize the benefits of the work, and then you think, why is this not taught in school? Why doesn't every young man know about this?
Yeah, but you say school's important for that, but why is it we're not, as dads,
as fathers,
as fathers, sort of enabling that conversation to be had as well there, because that's your first learning. As a child, you're first learning, whether it's been, you said that about what you see in eyes, smell, what you intake, etc. If what you're taking in is actually, we don't talk like this, we don't even think like this, whatever it might be, then it's very hard later on, isn't it?
Yeah, to find that. Yeah.
There's something you said earlier, you alluded the thing about your son saying that I want to be like him, but I don't want to be like him. That burden.
It's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Because
it means that he's learned.
Yeah.
He's seen the love that MC Nige has been able to draw from the community, but he also sees behind the scenes.
Yes.
So, in terms of him being able to get his routine right, means that when he hits the ground, he has hit the ground because he's loved throughout. Do you know what I mean? The whole of the city knows him and loves him.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's because he's learned how to manage his mental health that he's better suited at getting what he wants. What I wanted was to just get paid for doing that event. What he wants is much more than that. So I've told you about my routine, but it doesn't mean that my overall plan is by the time, within 10 years, I'm going to be successful in terms of A, B, and C. I still don't have a plan for that. That's still a work in progress, shall we say.
But I still have a plan for getting up in the morning
but
with that routine. That's what I can deal with.
That's the important one.
Yes.
That's the one that I would love to be able to share with everybody.
Yes.
If you don't make a plan for your next 12 hours that you're awake, somebody or something will make a plan for you.
Nigel, we usually sort of close with sort of like, what do you do for yourself? But
what do you mean close?
Close, I know. No.
We'll be here all day.
I know we could, I'm mindful of that. But I just want to, I said to you at the beginning, which is, essentially, what's the purpose? What's Trims and Talk about? Trims and Talk about is about keeping the conversation going about mental health, particularly for black men in Sheffield, and to have that conversation. I can truly say that our conversation today has done exactly that.
Wow.
Yes.
We've talked about mental health there. We've engaged in some really, really difficult things. I've learnt a lot I mean, a real lot from you, and so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think
you.
for me, actually, to echo what you're saying, it's I've been holding myself from bursting into tears as I spoke to you. No,
And he's a tears man.
Yeah, I'm a yeah. Simply because it's like, this is a brother I've known for years, and I'm thinking, in your struggle, where was I? Yeah.
But you know what? You're not on your own, because everybody around me who I genuinely believe love me have asked the same question.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is, you can't be part of the healing. You can't be. Nobody can be. The only person that can be is the one person that's the most important to you. That's you.
Yeah.
It's a work on yourself. It's a self. You have to build yourself. It's not purpose. Not having you around is important to me, because you're always around, and you're always somebody that, over the years, you've proved to be an asset in my life, and you've proved to be somebody that I can reach out to. Not necessarily have to reach out to, but knowing that you're there, along with lots of other people who I genuinely love and who I genuinely believe care for me, they're all there. So when I said to you, when I first got poorly, I became homeless for a little while. I have hundreds of places in Sheffield that I can knock on the door. I can knock on the door in any home in Sheffield and be put up. That's not a problem. My family and my friends included will all be in a position to help me. The thing is, when you're in your dark tunnel, you don't want that.
That's it.
You don't want that. That's not the fix that you need. What you need is to fix this. And what I had to do is, knowing that I had you and my crew, is keep you there while I build me. And then when I'm built, I can say, this happened. And you can go, and you can feel the way you feel, but I'm telling you, having you in my life is just as important as having you by my side, regardless of how distant we are and whether we're talking or not. The fact that you're in my life was enough strength that I needed to help me go, right, how do I get me better so that now I can be in a position to help anybody that I find who's in a similar, who's going through a similar pattern.
Yeah.
So don't feel that you haven't been able to help, because you have been able to help. You just didn't know.
That's a hard one to.
It is. I am.
Yes, sir.
You're going to ask the question, which is the question about what's your thing.
Yeah, what's your thing? And we usually ask this question about, like, what's your thing? You know, like, what are you doing to make sure that you're on top of your mental health journey? And you know, and you've spoken a lot, but we would like to hear, as a closing word, you know, like, what are you doing? What are the practical steps that are working for you?
I've recently leaned more into the art that I've always done arty things, making things, but I'm leaning in more to doing that. It seems selfish that, you know, I've got my whole routine, it's all about me, and then I'm doing art, which is kind of all about me. It is for people, you know. I'll take commissions if you're interested. I take commissions and I draw portraits and what have you. But having a studio and being fortunate, I'm currently still on benefits. I'm currently still in the system, which is allowing me the opportunity to do things that strengthen my mental health. And one of the things is the art. I love art. And if I was to give anybody any advice, it would be find something in art and push it as far as you can. There's loads of videos on YouTube showing you how to do things. It's not to be the best. It's to do something that selfishly occupies your mind. So if it takes me 2 or 3 hours to work on a piece, it usually takes about 20 hours to do a portrait. But for those 2 or 3 hours, it's me, my mind, and this person that I'm drawing or painting, and that it must be the same for people who read. I don't read a great deal, but I have started on this journey of discovery. I've learned that reading is really powerful. I haven't got a current book at the time at this moment, although it will be The Boy, the Mole, the Horse and the Fox. Have you heard this?
No.
Yeah, right. Check that out. The Boy, the Mole, the Horse and the Fox. I haven't bought it yet. It's on my Amazon list. It will be arriving in the next week or so. Yeah. And you can call me back and we'll talk
call
about
you
it.
back. We'll talk about books.
No,
we will be calling you back.
I'm looking at that. You know, I started off. Let me tell you, I started reading. You know, the body knows the score.
Oh.
You know, and let me tell you, I read the first couple of chapters. I was on a bus from my hometown to the capital. I was in Zimbabwe. I read this book. Suddenly, why is it that I'm just weeping in the and there I'm like sitting there and I'm weeping, bro. I'm weeping and I'm like, where is this coming from? But it's like the book articulated, you know, certain things that, you know, sometimes we don't admit those things and stuff, and you know, the source of our trauma or our journey.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I suddenly felt myself, you know, kind of just waterworks and stuff. I'm thinking, I hope nobody sees, you know, like this black man.
Have you read Anthony's book? Anthony from Keep Sheffield Stainless. The knife.
Oh, the knife
You mean
cut.
Anthony Alexander?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you read his book?
No, I haven't. I didn't know you had the book. I've seen his
He gave me.
articles.
He said he got the book, so I bought the book. I got the book, and he never said. He just said that I've written a book. I'm thinking, yeah, he's written a book, and it's all about knife crime.
Yeah.
And it's all about knife crime. Turns out it's a story lightly based on real events. I started reading this book, and like you said, second chapter, and well, not second chapter, but I'm reading through the book, and I jumped on the bus, and I'm reading the book, and I turned the page, and I couldn't. I was in fits, and I was sobbing my heart out. And this is somebody we know. This is Big Ant. Do you know what I mean? Somebody that I'm reading. Oh man, that's all I'm saying.
But that's the
But
thing,
yeah,
you
Big
know,
Ant.
Let me tell you, that's one guy. I know. I mean, you gotta go.
I've got to go.
Let me tell you, one guy I will in mind, you know, in the podcast. Because last posting I saw, and he was talking about, you know, the services and that they are how they are failing our young
Yes,
people and
yes,
stuff,
yes.
and the lack of engagement and stuff. And my heart went out to him, you know, because when you see him, you know, out there, you know, kind of doing his job, you assume that everybody in that space supports the work.
No.
But sometimes there's that disconnect between those who come, who will attend, and yet are not invested.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it there, folks, and thank you.
Thank you.
bro.
Thank you.
This has been a pleasure, man.
Thank you. It's been brilliant.
So we
Absolutely.
will come in for part 2 when you
Yeah,
finish.
Yes, yes.
Honestly,
Was
Nigel,
it the fox and the rooster and they said, I'm butchering the title.
there's so many things.
There
that
has
you've
to be a
said.
rooster somewhere,
Yeah.
bro.
But I was saying to Nigel downstairs, admitting to him that when I talk about being divorced,
Yeah.
I would always talk about we split up. What I never said was that she left.
Yeah.
Because it was...
It's an uncomfortable-
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yes.
because you feel to yourself, you know, I'm even lesser. Because you feel a massive failure.
Well, you do,
When a
yeah.
relationship breaks
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
And then when someone's with you for 27 years and decides actually it's not working anymore,
Yes.
then you think to yourself, bloody hell, I am real failure.
And like what Tim Cruikshank said, he said after his 20 years, he's like, he says, my therapist told me I was grieving.
Yes.
Because sometimes we assume, yeah, she gone, you know.
Hey, that's how you play it
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
You play it out for the guys there, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
All right, you know, she
But
gone.
then you close the door
Yes.
to your empty house when
Yes.
you go back, and that's when your friends aren't there,
No.
and then the weight of that. Yeah, it's grief.
And let me tell you, the other thing that basically toyed me was when he said, I'm on my own. Like, who checks on me? That basically broke me, because then that also kind of speaks to that thing about checking on our friends.
Yeah.
If we regard people as friends
Yeah.
and brothers, check on
We
them.
must.
Yeah.
But we must be mindful that everybody's in charge of their own self. So there's
That's
only
true.
so much. There's only so much we can
Because
do
in a
as
way, really,
friends.
people only
Yes.
check on you if you reach out for them as well.
Yes.
You know, they're not
Yeah,
check.
yeah.
You know, that's it's a two-way, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is,
And
it
you know,
is.
going back to that give and take there, you got to give and you got to take.
Yeah.
Yes.
And takes hard, but
Yes.
gives hard.
It's hard.
And both are equally as important.
Absolutely,
It's
yes.
yin and yang.
Yes,
Yin
yes,
and yang.
absolutely.
Because one can't work without. If somebody's giving and then you put the block up, then you've spoilt the flow. That's what I mean by yin and yang. And the same if somebody's if you've got something to give and you don't give it. Do you know what I mean? It's yin and yang. So they're both of them are equal. It's equal. It's of equal importance to receive when somebody's offering. So
Yeah.
don't feel, oh no, keep that. Because what you're doing is you're blocking opportunity. If you don't take it, you're blocking opportunity.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. That was brilliant. That
Thank
was
you.
there.
Oh.
But how was it then?
Been heavy, man.
Yes.
It was weird.
Because you were.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Dreams and thoughts.